On today's show,
My students the other day, they came down to my class and they go, "Coach, we were just watching your highlights in math class." I'm like, "What are you doing watching my highlights? Shouldn't you be learning math?"
Welcome one and welcome all. It's Kansas Sports Chatter streaming on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. It is a statewide high school sports entertainment show. My name is Cole Reif and welcome to the normalcy. That time of the year where I feel like even before Thanksgiving, but especially Thanksgiving, you go into the heart of the holiday season and it is what it is. It's that time every year, but it's just one buildup after another. It's Thanksgiving. It's now you're getting close to Christmas. It's a week from Christmas. It is Christmas. It's New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Day. And now you're just sit back and think, well, it's January 6th. It's cold out, although temperatures are a little bit higher in most part of the states right now, but no huge events building up to, except, for high school athletics, which is key here on the show. It is kind of an exciting time because you're starting to go into more of those league games for basketball, even the wrestling side of things. You have your midseason tournaments that are coming up in a couple of weeks. So there is some excitement there, but definitely looking forward to more normalcy. And I refer to it often, but as I get old, you start things click a little bit, and light bulbs go off a little bit more, like the Christmas song, where it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and the line in there, and Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. I get that line. Like really bad. Like holidays are great, kids are great. But I'm excited for some normalcy and excited to talk more high school athletics. The guest today, Eli Nathan with Blue Valley North bowling team. He'll be our leadoff question. Rickie Peterson, one of the Northwest writer for KSHSAA Covered, was able to visit family over the holidays and cover big wrestling tournaments from Baser Linwood. He'll also talk about some of the Western Kansas basketball teams to look out for. Speaking of Western Kansas, Cole Kinnamon, head coach of the Meade boys basketball team, will be with us. Jeff Bollig, the chairman of the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, will talk about a Hall of Fame member. Adam Sobba with Rural Vista boys basketball will be making an appearance as well. It'll be Terique Suwareh with the University of St. Mary basketball team, and out of Olathe West High School, our next level talents. And we'll finish things up with a radio highlight / video highlights from Lane Gillespie, who covers the McPherson Bullpups. Big thanks to our sponsors. It is Meyers Enterprises. Bring your business into the 21st century. Stand out from the noise. Grow your business with Meyers Enterprises. And also SPX, LED video walls. They build and install LED video walls for indoor environments like high school gyms. And our newest sponsor, Wheatland Electric, with headquarters in Scott City, serving 14 Kansas counties, delivering energy to more than 20,000 homes and businesses in Southwest, South Central Kansas, also 3 counties in Colorado. So big things to our sponsors, and I like to refer to them as the OGs. Like Meyers Enterprises has been with us essentially from day one. SPX is in a similar boat. Both jumped on very early, but a big shout out to our newest sponsor making their debut on the show today, if you will, in Wheatland Electric. And you talk about professions that go above and beyond, and especially professions that, people just kind of expect, right? Electricity is always going to be there, but the work that goes into that type of profession and all the employees they have throughout that part of the state in Kansas is incredible. And I kind of was able to, a few years ago, get kind of an inside view, if you will, of that profession, and even some of the dangers that go in for some of their linemen, and then everything that goes with it. It's just a huge shout out to everyone there at Wheatland Electric. And they do it with class. They serve that business with class. So excited to have Wheatland Electric on. And of course, man, jump on. The water's warm. We have more room if you want to sponsor and you want to provide your business, your organization with an extra platform to get your message, to get your brand out there. Love to have you. Our contact information is plastered all over social media, but you can email us at ksportschatter@gmail.com if you want to advertise here for a high school sports show with Kansas Sports Chatter. All right, let's get going here. We have our first guest. It is Eli Nathan, big-time bowler for Blue Valley North. It is today's leadoff question with Eli Nathan, a member of the Blue Valley North bowling team. Eli, the question today, where's your favorite place to bowl so far in your high school career?
So far for me, it has to be Olathe Lanes East. I've honestly bowled there my whole life, but all the high school tournaments, like regionals and everything, are there. So many of my memories come from that place, like qualifying for state for the first time, our team qualifying. And I've always loved the shot. Like something about it, I always perform better when I'm there. Maybe it's because I'm used to it, but I've just always loved that place.
Anything that stands out about that place as far as how it's set up or any of the structure of it that you
Oh,
like?
absolutely. The people who work there, I've known them my entire life. They've been huge factors in my high school career. Like they get me into tournaments. They like have just been with me my entire journey. Like Susan Lowe, I just wanted to shout her out because she's the biggest with youth bowlers. And if you're just starting high school bowling, I say you go to Olathe Lanes East and talk to them. They all are just so friendly and you never have a bad experience. And then you get better at the place. Like the lanes are in very good condition. You don't see them breaking down often, so you don't have to wait or like ruin a shot. So I just love that.
You talk about the lanes being in good condition. Like, how important is that for you as a bowler? Just to, the way the lanes are, whether they're oiled or anything like that.
So their shot, like their oil that they put out, it's a little bit easier. It's less flat, so like it kind of goes down a little farther. So if you pull the ball in, it'll slide and catch that oil, and you'll be able to still hit the pocket and strike. And then they're a clean surface, so you don't have much of
Nice.
issues with sliding on the approach. And then I've never had ball damage there, so that's always a win. Can't go wrong with that.
Exactly. So, if, like, is some of your best scores there? Do you remember any of your high scores there at those lanes?
Yeah, so I have all three of my 300s there. So little, personal. So
Yeah.
that's gotta remember that, which was in the past year or two. I had all three of them, and then two of them were in a not high school competition, but in a league through them. So they're sanctioned. I got a ring with it. So
Nice.
little biased.
No, it was worked out well for you. So that atmosphere in there, like on a typical day or night that you go, do you like it quiet in there or do you like the noise?
I kind of like the noise, honestly. I'm more of like a talkative person, so I like having people around me to be able to talk, and usually slows myself down. But most of the time, it's pretty crowded, unless it's like a Chiefs game, because you don't see many people up there. But
That is Eli Nathan, a member of the Blue Valley North bowling team, with our leadoff question. Shout out to Eli Nathan with Blue Valley North coming on the show today. We'll take a break. Rickie Peterson, like I said, he covers that more the western part of the state for KSHSAA cover, doing a phenomenal job, but was able to get back home over the holidays and cover a big wrestling event at Baser Linwood. He'll talk about that, some of the athletes that stood out, and then we'll go back to Western Kansas as Rickie will talk about some of the basketball teams that have stood out in the first semester as we get rolling here in January on the hard court. We'll take a break. Rickie Peterson joins us next. Here's a hard truth. If your business isn't using AI in its marketing, you've already fallen behind. But there's an advertising agency in Kansas that can get you back up to speed. That agency's name is Meyers Enterprises Media Research. The name sounds dry because the company's run by engineers, not salespeople. They use superior research and analytics that drive results with surgical precision. Marketing doesn't have to be a gritty battle in the trenches. Your business can win from the box. Visit their website, mediaresearch.agency, to learn more. We're getting back at it here for Kansas Sports Chatter as we're now just a little about a weekend into the month of January. We'll get back to our story time conversations with one of the staff writers for KSHSAA Covered, and that's going to be Rickie Peterson today. Hey, Rickie, appreciate you coming back on the show. For you were busy over the holidays, not only enjoying family and those aspects, but also still working, and especially on the east side of the state.
Yeah, I worked out. I'm back east. I'm from Topeka originally, and my mom lives in the Leavenworth area. So I decided to hop on over to the Baser Linwood tournament right before break. And that was my first time covering that tournament. But that's always a huge tournament. Probably, I would say that's probably the biggest girls tournament in the state in the regular season. Washburn Rural had a really good performance in that tournament. They won convincingly, and they had a pair of individual champs. To me, one of the most impressive runs was Lacey Middleton from Washburn Rural. She had one of the most difficult paths to a title. In the semifinals, she wrestled a really strong wrestler from Wellsville and Olive Dubois, and beat her in a really entertaining match. And then met up with a returning state champion in the final, Courtney Nye of Capon, and that was a really entertaining match. Locked at one late in the third period, and Lacey was able to get a takedown in the last 15 seconds to get that. And yeah, I think she's always been a really solid wrestler, but I think this year she really has a chance to really make some noise in that 125-pound division. And then Rule's other championship came at 140 with Maddie Blanco. That was a heck of a comeback. Alejandra De La Rosa from Dodge City. She kind of set the tone early in that match. Got out to, I think, a 7-2 lead in the first period, and then Maddie Blanco found a way to get the pin in the second period. So really, really strong showing from Rural, which is no surprise because they've probably been the preeminent program in the state. And then, that what's fun about that tournament is just, sometimes you get two champions, two reigning champions wrestling against each other, and that was the case at 105 with Elizabeth Ramirez from Dodge City and Brooklyn Treaster from Newton. Elizabeth is the reigning 6A champion at 105, and Treaster is the reigning champion at 5A. And Elizabeth Ramirez was able to pull out a 9-7 decision to remain undefeated on the year. Just going over a couple of the other big matches, Audrey Leonard from Olathe East against Michaela Faulkner from Basil Linwood. I think those are the top two at 145, I believe. And Leonard pulled out a 9-7 decision in that match. And then, heavyweight, that was a really interesting match. Lulu Kirk from Shawnee Mission South is the reigning state champion. She won last year as a freshman, and she went up against Molly Marty from Olathe North. Those two have really gotten acquainted with each other over the last couple of years. They met in the finals last year, and like I said, Kirk was able to get that win. In the first match this year, Molly Marty took the win, and then Kirk was able to get a 2-1 decision in that match. And I know those two expect to see each other down the line again. Izzy Renfro from Baser Linwood, she won at 190. In her hometown meet. Kylie Dillo from Chanute. Obviously, she's one of the state's best. She won against Savannah Flanner from Shawnee Mission South at 170. Just if you win a championship at that tournament, you're doing something well, because that's a really good showcase for girls wrestling in the state.
Yeah, very impressive. For you, like switching back to the other side of the state and also switching sports, you've been able to cover a lot of good basketball games. Who are some Western Kansas basketball teams that have stood out to you so far through the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah, I think I'll start with Holcomb. But 7-0 on both the boys and girls side. On the boys side, Brody Denniston has been a really, really good guard for them. And this year it seems like they have more of a balanced attack to kind of complement him. Aiden Brown's had a couple of huge games, and then just really solid scoring behind them. They always seem like they have multiple guys in double digits every game. Corbin Johnson, obviously a great football player. Austin Sullivan, Blake Mader. They just seem like they have a really good core for that group, and they're definitely making some noise. I think they're up to number 4 in the Class 3A rankings, and the girls are number 4 in the Class 3A rankings as well. Both those teams swept the Larned Gene Katie Classic tournaments. On the girls' side, Bella Galliard, Hallie Jones, Jaylee Wickwar, they're all key players for them. So that's been a really good story. Sticking with the girls, Hoxie, they're off to a 7-0 start. What's impressive what's impressive for them is they've had multiple girls that have had 20-point outings. Cameron Gorley, Avery Mock, Kendall Ballman, Allie Gorley, Evie Shippers has had a couple really good games. So I I think they're a team that is really making some noise up in 2A. Ellenwood 7-0 again. You know, the volleyball team is the volleyball core has kind of picked up where they left off, and they're off to a great start for Greg Maxwell's squad. Couple Dighton's kind of I think they're kind of a breakthrough team on the girls' side. Lonnie Spear is one of the top all around athletes. She's really led that team to a good start. They won the Castle Rock Classic at Quinter, and then Buckland is a really interesting team there in 1A D2. They have a really good point guard in Emerson Kirk, who's been playing since she was a freshman, and I think they're definitely a contender in 1A D2. You know, going back to the boys' side. So getting my notes here. Sorry. Greeley County. They picked up a big win over Quinter right before break, and they're a 1A D2 team that's really made some noise. A couple years ago, a few years back, they were back-to-back champions. Braxton Mangan for them is averaging over 20 points per game. So yeah, those are a few teams. It'll be interesting to see the mid-season tournament's always a really fun time. We're coming up on that, so it'll be interesting to see who can make some noise in those.
You can find more of Rickie's stories by going to KSHSAA.com. Rickie, appreciate the time and enjoy the new year.
Yeah, thank you, Cole. Good to be with you.
That is Rickie Peterson, one of the staff writers for KSHSAA Covered, and that'll do it for Storytime.
Power outages don't wait for a convenient time, and neither should you. Right now is the perfect season to invest in a standby generator from Wheatland Electric Cooperative. With low monthly payments and special financing for co-op members, reliable backup power is more affordable than you think. We'll help you survey, install, and finance a Generac standby generator, all with professional installation you can trust. Protect your home, your comfort, and your peace of mind before the next storm hits. Get a free quote today and make life without power a thing of the past. Visit us online or call us to get started today.
Referees and game officials are a vital part of high school athletics. These men and women take time out of their lives to ensure a safe and fair environment for student athletes. As you attend sporting events this year, keep in mind the hard work and dedication of the officials. Respecting officials and authority figures is one of the most valuable lessons that we can teach our students. The Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Student Advisory Team would like to thank all those who take the time to officiate our competitions.
It's time now for our quality time interview, an opportunity to spend a little extra time with our next guest, and that guest is Cole Kinnamon. He's the head coach of the Meade High School boys basketball team. Coach, I mean, year 3 now for you. Are you just ready to go? Like that experience of the previous 2 years, you feel more comfortable going into that third season?
Absolutely. I was telling my wife this morning when we woke up, it's kind of like being a kid on Christmas morning. You know, you've been waiting for this since the last buzzer last season. Our guys have been working their tails off throughout the summer. And our 12 practices, 13 practices, whatever it is, leading up to this point, they're excited and ready to go. So
you mentioned the summer, so how much work can you do with the boys during the summer, and what are some of the things you're trying to accomplish at that time of the year?
The biggest thing that we try to do is really get them in the weight room. After that point, you get them bigger, stronger, faster, whatever it may be. You know, you got to live in the gym. Summertime is the time to working on skill development stuff, especially. I truly believe in that. If you don't live in the gym, how do you expect to get better?
You look at, things that you want to enforce in the gym. Is it just overall strength and overall core? Is there anything specific, I guess, for basketball that you really want the guys to concentrate on?
As far as the weight room goes, you got to really have a strong core. I teach weights out here, and, we do a couple different core workouts every single day. My kids are always like, why are we doing this all the time? I'm like, if you don't have a strong core, guys, you don't have a chance. You look at guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I can't even imagine how strong his core is. LeBron, some of those top elite guys, just being able to finish through contact, that's a big part of your core strength.
Do you feel like that's a change? Because I remember there's a day, and like there's different for each sports, but I feel like there was a day where it's just like, hey, put as much weight on that bar as possible. Let's just get strong, strong, strong. Like, do you feel like there's been a kind of a change? Not to say strength is not important, but focus more on core, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. With all the research nowadays, technology, you can really narrow down what exactly each kid needs to work on. I worked summer KU camp, and we got to listen to the KU men's basketball strength trainer talk, and it's pretty eye-opening on the kind of exercises that they do just for their basketball players alone.
You mentioned going to different camps, Cole. What are some of the things that you're trying to get when you go to those camps, and how many do you have an opportunity to go to?
I usually do the the Bill Self basketball camp. I just go and help coach it. With my uncle and my dad winning multiple state championships apiece. It's always nice that I have those two to come back to if I need help on something. But seeing them work every day at KU camp, just really makes me realize why they've had so much success in their career.
Well, you bring up your dad and your uncle. Like for you, like when you first started coaching, like that year one at Meade, like how much advice did you want from them, and how much did you get?
First year, I was probably pretty hard-headed. I'm a young guy coming in trying to prove myself. I'm not really looking for help, which probably wasn't very smart of me. But now, I'm talking to my dad all the time. Do you think this would work for my team? Do you think this would work? Different things like that.
Like how much of that experience of just going through St. John with your dad at high school and like just kind of seeing the background of things, him as a coach, how much did that help kind of leading you to becoming a coach?
Pretty much everything that I do now came from him. It's funny, we actually played St. John last year in the sub-state first round, and I'm still close with all those people. Some of them came up and talked to me after the game and like, you have like the same exact mannerisms as your dad. I'm like, well, this might be good, and some spots probably really bad too. Um, I just the biggest thing that I've gained from him is I hate to lose. I can't stand it. And that's what I'm trying to instill in our guys here is you got to hate to lose more than you love to win.
Well, I remember watching some of you guys' highlights, following St. John, like that buzzer beater that you hit like a half court at Bramlage still goes up there as one of the top plays that I've seen. Like, do you ever go back and watch that play?
Oh, it's funny. Some of my students the other day, they came down to my class and they go, Coach, we were just watching your highlights in math class. I'm like, what are you doing watching my highlights? Shouldn't you be learning math?
Right.
And another funny story, the Meade girls team was actually playing right after us after that game. So there's people that have sent me videos from Meade that were at that game.
That's cool.
It's just kind of crazy how the world works like that.
Right? So you start out at Cali, like talk about your experience at Cali and then, stop at Rogers State as well. Like what did you learn just even playing at that collegiate level?
Well, the first thing I learned at Cali was I have to play defense there. Could kind of get away with it in high school. I wish my dad probably would have been a little harder on me. And I'm sure he was hard, but the biggest thing I learned at Cali is you got to play defense. You're not going to see the floor if you're not playing defense. And then at Rogers State, playing for Justin Barkley, that's my guy. A lot of things that I do coaching wise comes from him too. 90% of it comes from my dad, and a lot of it comes from Coach Barkley too. He's had a ton of success at Rogers State. And I still keep in contact with him. I call him, or he'll call me once every week or something, just talking about hoops and stuff, talking about the family. And it's just great to have those connections still.
Time with Cole Kinnamon, the head coach of the Meade boys basketball team. Or so you get out of college, and eventually when you're starting to, job hunt, and what was that experience like for you? And obviously, eventually landing in Meade, but what is that like when you're going out and trying to find that first job?
Biggest thing I was looking for is a school that has had success in not only basketball but all sports. I'm a firm believer in kids playing multiple sports. I'm never going to be somebody that tells somebody to not go play a sport. I think they all have their benefits. even playing golf or something like that. Get out there, okay, and just be a team. That's the biggest thing to focus on is working as a team here.
Well, you mentioned golf because you're also a golf coach, right, at Meade?
Yep.
So do you like just naturally recruit the guys like after the basketball season? All right, now you need to go play some golf.
It's kind of funny. Some of them had never played before. They're like, "Coach, should I play golf this year?" I'm like, "Yeah, do it." I mean, it's not gonna be easy. They're like, "Oh, yes, it is." They get out there and they whiff their first 5 swings. I'm like, "I told you guys."
Right?
In my opinion, I think golf is a top 3 sport. Hardest to get good at.
Like you look at the start of the season, that pre-Christmas schedule. Like, what are you trying to get out of this time of the year? Just as far as becoming better at this time of the year, especially when you're going to have a 2-3 week break between games.
Sure. I mean, we got dropped from a tournament here a couple years ago. We used to go to the Cimarron tournament, but they did away with it. And when we were looking for tournaments to go to early in the year, I wanted something that I know is going to make us better. So we've got Sterling scheduled, third game of the year. They're going to be tough. You got Kingman. That's a solid 3A. And then, you could potentially face Great Bend, who's going to be at the top of 5A this year. And last year, we also had the pleasure of playing Haven, who was one of the best teams in 3A. And you get beat in those games, but it makes you better. That's what we're after.
Putting a schedule together, I mean, is it becoming easier? I know it's your third season, but like, do you feel like, putting that schedule together? I mean, you got your league opponents, that helps out, but what's it like just trying to map everything together?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Our league schedules all of our leagues game for us. And all we have to do is pretty much schedule our out of league games. And we added 2 more this year. We weren't able to get a third, but we added Ulysses and Syracuse, who are both going to be pretty good teams. And we're excited for those ones.
Well, give me the outlook of Meade as far as some of the experience you have coming back and what you're excited about.
I really like the group that we have. They're real coachable. They work their tails off, like I mentioned earlier, and they genuinely enjoy being around each other. And our motto this year is called "Culture Wins." And I'm a firm believer. If you have a strong culture, you have the right recipe for success. If you have a bad culture, where guys don't like each other, like hanging out with each other outside of school, outside of sports, you might struggle. Coming back, we've got lots of returners that had big time minutes for us. Starting with Samuel Lynn, he averaged just under 20 for us last year. He was our go-to scorer, obviously, and he also averaged just under 3.5 assists a game. Then we had Tyson Knott. He was injured first half of the season last year, got hurt in football. Came back, really played some big minutes for us, averaged around 6 a game, and shot close to 50% from 3 at a high clip. When you're getting up to that 50% range, that's not just good, that's elite. So I'm expecting a big year from those two, especially. And then Saul Mendoza, he's a junior. He averaged just under 6 for us. Okay, he's one of our toughest guys, and just does all the dirty work. Stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but something that coaches would recognize and fully appreciate. Then we got Surson Conley. He was steady and reliable last year. Not a big time scorer from us, but that's okay. That's not what we need from him. He understands his role. He's going to get the best player on defense every game. He's going to be guarding guy. He's about 5'9", 5'8" maybe, but he's going to be guarding guys that are 5-6 inches taller than he is. He's just a tough kid, and makes pretty good decisions offensively too. Tate Jones, sorry, you good?
No, you're good. Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead.
All right. Tate Jones, come back to us as a sophomore, played some big minutes. He averaged about 6 a game as well. He's grown a lot this year. And you could really see it in football too. He was our starting quarterback this year. Just his confidence and his physicality has completely changed from last year. And his maturity has really taken a leap too. And we got Titus Ritter. He really grew last year, another sophomore. He brought energy off the bench for us, and he's really improving every week. And then Jermaine Conley, who is Surson's brother. Talk about somebody who's really grown. Last year he was maybe 5'9", 5'10". He shot up to about 6'1" now, probably with a 6'4", 6 span, real long, athletic, lanky kid. And I've challenged him to be our best defender and leading rebounder this year. So
Good outlook here. Hey, Cole, appreciate the time and best of luck the rest of the season.
thanks, Cole. I appreciate it.
That's Cole Kinnamon, the head coach of the Meade boys basketball team, and that'll do it for our quality time interview. SPX Specialized Video Wall Solutions. Your gym needs SPX. Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time now for our Hall of Fame spotlight as we get to shine the lights brightly on a number of the candidates and then also a number of the already inducted members in from the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. And to help us out is the chairman of the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, Jeff Bollig. Hey, Jeff, appreciate you coming on. How the holidays treating you?
So far, so good. I'm looking forward to what's under the tree for me.
All right. Well, hopefully you've been a good boy so far this winter season.
Well,
our spotlight today, let's go with some basketball. It's that time of the year and a really good one. Obviously with the KU connections, but I'll let you introduce the guest.
Well, in our first induction class in 1961, Dr. James Naismith, the inventor of basketball. I thought as basketball season hits full stride, let's talk about the inventor of the game and what he meant, not only to the game, but to the state of Kansas as well.
All right, I guess a lot to unfold with James Naismith, but like from the beginning of it, like I remember reading stories like he was at a school or he went to schooling and then he eventually went to, like Springfield, Massachusetts,
Right.
and he was working at a YMCA and he was told that he's got to invent some game that can be played indoors.
Right.
For the cold weather. And man, he came up with a pretty good idea.
Well, he did. He's Canadian, early years in Canada and then with the Springfield. And, it was kind of based on this game called Duck on a Rock, where you took a big stone and tried to throw it at a smaller stone on a rock. And, he was a great athlete, very smart, really believed in the concepts of physical education for young kids. So that's kind of how it developed. And, if you've been, to KU games and seen the 13 original rules, a lot has changed since then, but quite a credit, and he made his way out to Lawrence because out of a recommendation from his coach and teammate back in Massachusetts, Amos Alonzo Stagg, the famous football coach. And Kansas was looking for a director of chapel and physical education. And Naismith was in Denver finishing his medical degree, and they suggested him. And so he comes to Lawrence, and the rest is history. He has many titles over the years. As you can imagine, athletic departments and schools are not quite what they were today. And the funny thing about it is he was the only losing coach in the history of Kansas basketball, coaching 9 years, going 55-60. But if you look at the records, Dr. Naismith at times would just be a fan in the stands and watch, or sometimes he'd even officiate the games of his own team. And the classic line is the conversation he had with Dr. Fogg Allen, who he coached, and Fogg wanted to be a basketball coach. And Naismith said, of course, you don't coach basketball, you play it. And of course, we've found out over the years that coaching has been very important to the game, and it's become quite a profession, and the game has advanced because of these instructors. And I'll just go on. I think the great unwritten story about basketball in Kansas and the game itself is the influence Kansas had on it, because once Naismith introduced the game and people started playing, it became much more popular and coaches spread out. And you look at the list of coaches who've come from Kansas, and granted, for your younger audience, you may not be familiar with these names, but John McClendon, who is from Hiawatha, invented the fast break offense. He went on to coach many historically black colleges and universities. He coached in the ABA, coached Larry Brown, and of course, he was very instrumental in the growth of the NAIA tournament in Kansas City. And then Gene Johnson, who was from Parsons, developed the zone full court press, which John Wooden really made famous, but it was Gene Johnson who developed it and coached at Wichita State, and then with the McPherson Oilers, who became the first Olympic team to play. So then you go and I point back to 1988 in the NCAA tournament, 64 teams, 7 of those coaches were born in Kansas. So it was Dean Smith, Ralph Miller, Gene Cady, Lon Kruger, Charlie Spoonhour, Eddie Sutton. So it was just I think as you look at the coaching trees out there, really basketball was born in the state of Kansas for all intents and purposes. So Naismith gets credit for a lot, but he probably deserves more, in my opinion.
Like, can you imagine like trying to pitch that game? Like, I mean, after like, all the staples that were already in place, as far as, athletics, and then you come and you pitch this game. Obviously it took off, but like, I feel like in the early stages, people were like, like, what is this?
Peach basket, no hole in the bottom of it. Some of these buildings had pillars and posts in the middle of the court. It's hard to believe that it would have come about, but give Naismith credit and his students as well, and it developed rather quickly. You think about 1936 was the first Olympic games that featured basketball, and that was a big push. Naismith was elderly at that time, and led by Fog Allen, the games started sponsoring basketball, and he was able to see those, and died shortly thereafter. But it's become a worldwide sport, and you can see just as you watch the European game how different it is. It has been, and then as we have movement of players and coaches and more international competition, you see the game is melding. But quite a change. And I should mention about Naismith, he was so brilliant. What he doesn't get a lot of credit, it's not well known, is he helped invent the game of volleyball. He coached the man who developed and established the game of volleyball at Springfield, and they would have conversations, and the game was developed, and you may chuckle about this, for those people who couldn't enjoy the strenuous activity of basketball. They needed something a little more sedate, less intensive, and that's where volleyball came. And if you watch volleyball today, there's nothing slow about it. So interesting how things have changed over time.
Hey, Jeff, appreciate all the knowledge, and we'll catch up soon.
Cole, great. Thanks to be great to be with you.
That is Jeff Bollig, the chairman of the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, with our Hall of Fame Spotlight. Are you looking for a new way to promote your business or organization? Do you want to get your message out to a statewide audience that loves high school sports in both urban and rural areas? Kansas Sports Chatter has advertising opportunities from commercials, sponsoring specific guests, product placements, and even a premier sponsorship. Let Kansas Sports Chatter promote your brand. Contact ksportschatter@gmail.com for more advertising details. That's ksportschatter@gmail.com. Come join the chatter. Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. We bring in our next guest here today, and it is going to be Adam Sobba, the head coach of the rural Vista boys basketball team and also volleyball coach, but in the wintertime. Coach, I appreciate you coming on the show. For you, the Christmas break, how did it go, and how do you kind of attack it as a coach?
It's good. It was a good break. It's always too short, but had a week off there, gave the boys the full week off, and then got back after it this week. I think for me, for Christmas break, Christmas break is very important. It kind of redefines your season, regardless of what happened there in those 5 or 6 games before break. You kind of come back, reset, figure out what you need to work on, and really attack that.
Do you have like a particular game plan as far as like, after Christmas? I know that, obviously there's time for family, but, once you kind of do get back into the gym and you got a couple of weeks to work on things, like what's your game plan?
I mean, it really just depends year to year. Kind of depends where you're at, what you've been seeing, what you want to fix. And then who you got coming up for sure too. But for us, I think this year, not as much depth as we had in the past. So conditioning's been kind of a huge thing we've been kind of focusing on. And then defense, I don't feel that we played very good defense the first half of the year there. So that's really kind of what our focus has been over these last couple of days.
What did you learn about your team though, as far as some of the things that you liked in that first semester?
This team plays together really well. So there's not a lot of ego. They share the ball. If you look over our stats, I think most of our games are 4 or 5 guys scoring in double figures. I think our highest point total this year has been like 18, maybe 20. So everything's pretty even. So I think that makes us a very hard team to defend because you can't key in on one guy. But yeah, I really like how they play together. Sometimes we're a little too unselfish. I think we need to take some more open shots, but other than that, that's probably the best attribute they've got going for them right now.
Decent chunk of seniors on this year's team. How nice has that been for you?
It's great. This is a great group of seniors. I've been working with these guys since they were going into 8th grade. So one of them's actually been my manager since like all the way back in my first year, 9 years ago. So great group of kids. They work hard. Wish they did a little bit more outside the season in regards to basketball, but they stay busy. But yeah, it's a really good group of seniors. They had a great football year. Most of these guys have been playing since they were freshmen. So it's really nice to kind of come into the season, not have to worry about putting in a whole bunch of new stuff. They already know what's going, so we're able to hit the ground running.
You talk about, watching some of those guys grow up, and like as a coach, like I got to imagine, like, are you scouting, like, not that you're doing it seriously, but are you scouting like even like elementary schools, like when you're seeing like a kid like playing indirectly, like, hey, this guy might be good here in about 5 or 6 years?
Yes, especially I try to pay attention to it a lot, actually, probably more than I should, but I pay attention. I actually took our 3rd and 4th grade boys this summer and actually played a tournament with them, just to kind of get in there, kind of get my philosophy, my system of how I want them to play, how I want them to look as they grow in. But yeah, I pay a lot of attention to our elementary schools.
Just following your success over these last 4 years with the seniors, they've improved every year, even just record wise. Did you kind of see that coming with this senior class?
Yeah, I think for sure. We kind of were down there for a little bit. Not a lot of kids, not a lot of height, not a lot of size. So there was a couple years. I think before these guys got into high school, we went like 2-17, and that was a pretty rough year. But we've known they've been coming, and so yeah, we had kind of expected that every year. We're not quite at where I think we need to be, but we're getting there. So,
what's that next step then? I guess to get to that spot where you want to be.
It definitely revolves around defense. We are athletic. We are long. Our starting lineup, I think our shortest guy in our starting lineup is 6'2". And so at a 1A level, you don't see that. We are extremely long and extremely athletic. And so we have to learn to guard. And we've been working on it. The 2 games we've lost this year, we've just got destroyed with some back cuts and not being in help side defense. And so pretty much the last 3 days of practice, that's about 90% of what we've done. We actually did a shooting drill today. It was pretty ugly. So we need to shoot a little bit more, but we've really been focusing on getting to help defense. If this group learns and decides they want to guard, then there's a chance they can make a deep run.
Yeah, you talk about those 2 losses. Narrow losses. The Clifton Clyde game was that 4-point game, then Blue Valley Randolph, a 4-point game in overtime, correct? So, what do you learn from like those type of close games, especially early on in the season?
Oh, we definitely learned what we're not good at. So we definitely learned that we gave up some easy baskets at just random points in the game that come back and kill you. I think this group, I had really high expectations for this group defensively coming into the year. And we haven't lived up to that yet. So that's really what we've been focusing on. The Clifton Clyde game, kind of another one of those games. We got beat on some back cuts. We're up 14 in the first half, and just 3rd quarter just was one of those quarters where nothing goes our way. We couldn't make a shot, and then they hit some crazy shots. I'm a big advocate of the shot clock, but in the first couple games there, it actually hurt us because they had to chuck some desperation threes, and they made them, and so it kind of hurt us a little bit there. But and then Blue Valley game, we didn't play real well. Cole Reedy got hurt early 4th quarter. We were in bad foul trouble, and so just little things like that. It's kind of how it goes, but we just weren't able to finish.
I'm glad you brought up the shot clock. Because I like getting perspective, from coaches in different classifications. I know it's going to kind of trickle down over the next 2 years as far as getting to that 1A level being mandated. Like, what have you seen? You mentioned you like it, but have you seen a huge impact for 1A basketball?
I like it. I'm a big I coach a lot of AAU, and so I've seen it in play a lot. I see how it changes the game. I'm a big advocate for it. I actually think it evens the game up, and people will kind of argue that, but I think bad teams that don't have as much talent are able to hang in games a little bit better with shot clock because there's different things they can do. Athletes always win. And I think the shot clock evens that up. As far as what I've seen this year, I haven't seen it affect the games too much. I think we have not had anywhere close to a shot clock violation, and I think we've forced maybe 2. And so it hasn't really affected it. Now, as I scout out other teams we're going to play and see the shot clock not in games, I see people pulling the ball out, running a minute and a half, 2 minutes off the game clock. And so that's why I'm a big fan of it. But I haven't really seen it negatively affect the game at all.
I know only 5 games in from, before Christmas, but I mean, how many games are we talking about that you've seen shot clock used or not used?
So we played in every game we've played so far. So we have them installed in all of our gyms here at Hope and White City. And then we played the Harrington tournament and they have them. So far we played 3 games at Harrington and 2 games at home. So we've seen them everywhere. We play Elyria Christian next Tuesday and they don't use them, but we're playing at Tabor College because their gym's not ready. So I'm not sure if we're playing them yet. So it's kind of something I'm trying to find out, but we'll figure it out if not. So,
hey, Coach, I appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
That is Adam Sobba, the head coach of the Rural Vista boys basketball team, and we'll have more of the show right after this.
Being hydrated is essential for performing at your best. Remember to drink plenty of water before, during, and after practice or games. Fuel your body with hydration, balanced meals, and rest to recover and stay fit. Staying healthy means you maintain your strength and continue performing at your best. Hydrate your way to success.
Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time for our next level talents and opportunity to talk to Kansas athletes that competed in high school that are now competing at a college or university in the state of Kansas. And our guest today, Terique Suwareh, a member of the University of St. Mary men's basketball team and out of Olathe West High School. Hey, Terique, appreciate you coming on the show. Senior now in college. What does that mean for you being one of those upperclassmen?
Man, it's been crazy, but it's a blessing. I came into St. Mary and I wasn't expecting to be here for this long and stuff like that. And I'm just glad that I've had the opportunity to stay and I've worked my way up and been able to get on the floor and stuff like that. And being able to get my degree this spring is something I'm looking forward to for sure.
You mentioned not exactly sure what you're expecting going into college. Like, what was kind of your mindset your freshman year?
To be honest with you, coming out of high school, I really wasn't looking to go and play college basketball. It wasn't until we got to the state tournament and stuff like that, and I was just like, there's no way this could be the last time I play basketball. So I just decided that St. Mary was the place for me, and they approached me, and they offered me all the right things, and it just felt like home and stuff like that. So I decided to make my way here.
Olathe West, what was it like competing at Olathe West?
It was awesome. Being a part of the Sunflower League, you're going to talk to one of my teammates now, DeMar Smith. We had a bunch of talent. It was good games every single night, but it was just super fun. A lot of competitive basketball for sure.
Who helped you out the most in high school? Was there anybody that stood out, whether it's a coach, a family member, anything like that? Like, who stood out?
Honestly, one of my teammates, he's at Benedictine right now. His name's Harrison Kissling. That's just one of my closest friends. We worked out together almost every single day. He pushed me, I pushed him, and that's like my brother. So
how did that relationship start? Like, what made that bond so special?
So I've known him since we were in middle school, to be honest with you. We used to go to the Olathe Community Center about 5 times a week and just be up there for at least 3 to 4 hours every single day, just getting runs in with our other friends around the city and stuff like that. But like I said, we just built that relationship over time and built a brotherhood.
You mentioned around the city, like that competition. We're always interested in talking with people that are from the Kansas City area or maybe even the Wichita area. Like, what was competition like, whether it was on the high school floor or just even, during the summer around Kansas City?
It was always tough. I mean, most of us guys, we all kind of know each other, so we have a certain respect for each other, and we're always trying to just push each other. Like, we don't want the next man to get above on us or anything like that. So it was always competitive and always just filled with a bunch of emotion and stuff like that for sure.
You mentioned the state tournament while you're at Olathe West. So what were some of the better games in your high school career that you remember?
The most enjoyable game from my high school career probably would have been my junior year when we played Shawnee Mission Northwest. We went to double overtime. We beat them boys. I think it was 98-90 or something like that. It's probably the highest scoring game in my high school career, and it was just a bunch of fun.
How many did Damari have?
Oh, he probably had 30 and stuff like that, but we got the win. That's all that matters. We got the win.
You'll have your turn, Damari. So for you, after, graduating high school, like you mentioned some of the reasons for St. Mary, but what else went into your decision to eventually land on St. Mary?
So I had my high school coach, Brad Ball. He was really, really good friends with one of the volunteers up here at St. Mary before my freshman year, Coach Murph. And I had a really good relationship with him in high school, and we always just talked the game of basketball. And also coming up here, I met Coach Liam Wolf. He used to coach here, and he's also been working in Overland Park, Olathe area. He's the coach of Pac basketball, and he's just got a basketball mind, and me and him could go on and talk about basketball and stuff. And it's just the level of expertise on the game that a lot of the coaches here had was something that really dragged me to this program for sure.
Already kind of getting involved with that Pac basketball, like how much do you enjoy coaching?
It is the best. I have had so much fun these last 2 years. My first year, I was coaching a local 15U squad, just games at Hy-Vee Arena or at home field and stuff like that. And then this past year, I was on the 16 Next pro circuit. It's Puma circuit. It was so much fun. We got to travel. I went on a plane for the first time this summer in my entire life. We went down to Orlando for the Puma finals and stuff. And it's just a blessing to be able to give back to younger individuals because I know how much of an impact coaches have had on me, and I just would love to be able to give that same impact back.
Is coaching one of those paths you want to take after college?
Absolutely. It keeps me in the game. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be able to play forever. I'm still going to be in the men's leagues when I'm done and playing here at St. Mary, but it still just keeps me competitive in the sport. So I love it.
Go back to like maybe what you remember of like that first practice. So like after leaving Olathe West and arriving at St. Mary, like what is it like just stepping on the court as a college athlete?
It's different. The speed of the game it's night and day. You're playing with grown men, so the strength is a huge difference. I definitely remember my freshman year having to be in the gym in the weight room as much as I possibly could because I just had to be able to build myself up to compete with the other guys on the floor. But they all took me in and they all showed me different tricks and ways to get through things. And like in high school, we didn't play with the shot clock or anything. So coming over in college and playing with the shot clock, a lot of my teammates, they helped me understand how to get the best shot and what to look for. And when it's 10 seconds, we have calls and stuff like that. So just learning the college game, honestly.
KCAC, what has it been like just competing in the KCAC over the last few years?
Just like my high school career, it's a super talented league. I mean, there's good teams everywhere you go. Every single night it's going to be a tough game. There's never a weak opponent. You got to come into every single game and respect your opponent for sure. But it's been amazing. I love the KCAC, and I wouldn't want to play in any other conference for sure.
Terique, appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the season.
I appreciate you, man.
That is Terique Suwareh, a member of the University of St. Mary basketball team and out of Olathe West High School for our next level talents. Are you a person that's always on the go? You can still easily keep up with Kansas Sports Chatter with the audio podcast. Hear each episode on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to follow the Kansas Sports Chatter podcast. Closing time here on Kansas Sports Chatter. Thanks to all of our guests. We'll be back at it on Thursday. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. You can help us out there. And also, big thanks to our sponsors. We have SPX, Meyers Enterprises, and our latest one, Wheatland Electric. You can find contact information to sponsor here on the show at ksportschatter@gmail.com. Rounding things out today, it'll be Lane Gillespie. He is the voice of the McPherson High School Bullpups. He had a big-time highlight from the first semester with McPherson. Enjoy the sounds.
Finds Pyle. 10 seconds. Down to 8, 7. Pyle. A lob. Reasoner. Lays it in. 3 seconds. Timeout campus. The freshman gives McPherson the lead with 1.9 to go.